Welcome to Machismo TV, the ultimate destination for modern men seeking to upgrade their lifestyle. Subscribe to Machismo TV and Saul T-Balls. We stream daily from 12 midnight to 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, the best male-centric content. Highlight reels without reviewing or providing any editorial bias to the content. We have done so much, with so little for so long, we are now qualified to do anything, with nothing.
Peace, folks. This is X from TPOT Media. Open your mind and wake your black ass up. You know what time it is. Hit that damn like button as you make your way in the door. Grab a seat, settle in, get ready. It's the Grown Man Hour with your host, my man, Bernard Riley.
All right. I think I can be heard. We doing it. No sound check. Everybody. I mean, Hood Servative. Mic check on Hood Servative.
Bernard, you're getting closer and closer to white people time every Saturday.
I'm working on it, man. I'm really working on it. Like, damn it. I'm upset. I'm disappointed in myself. I fell short today. I really was trying to start right at 10 a.m. But you know, we'll get there. We'll get there. But
I'll be counting on you to be like 5 or 10 minutes late because you know I struggle with white people time myself, bro.
Yeah, it's difficult. It's difficult. I never forget when Ike told me that this is Ike Ogiamian from Nigeria, and he said that in Africa they be late as hell. He said they look at time in like 3 separate time blocks. Like there's morning, there's afternoon, and there's evening. So if you say that something is starting around at 10 a.m., that just means before noon. 9 a.m., that's before. So basically sometime between sun up and noon, that's when they gonna get started. Just sometime in there. They don't.
Do you know there is like a woke anti-time argument? You know,
No.
in the same way I presented to you that, you know, being gay is basically Africans' natural state and the white man made us straight. There's a time version of that argument. Well, there's a white version of every kind of racial argument now, but basically being on time is a product of racist white culture now. Just so you know.
Yeah, well, all right. Well, we under the thumb of another regime and are subjected to have to adhere to time constraints. That's racist. But anyway. All right, so let's get on into this. I wanted to cover this Friday, but I said, you know what, I'm gonna save it for Saturday because I didn't know about this till you sent it to me early. This shit, it probably was about 5 minutes old when you sent it to me.
I was putting my bid in because I knew you would have covered it Friday, and I know a lot of people would have covered it. Hell, I did like 2.5 hours, but I focused on a particular section of it because I wanted you and I to really do the whole thing. But I focused on the black woman as attack dog angle of it.
Yeah,
because there's a lot in this conversation that you could focus on. So I just took that one little slice of the pie, but damn, there's a lot going on here. And the nigga moment was beautiful. Everybody knows about the nigga moment by now.
You know what? I watched this. I probably watched it for like the first 30 minutes and I like fell asleep or something. But this morning, like literally when I was, in the show, okay, somebody gonna say pause. I mentioned it, but I was listening to it while I was in the shower. And that's what I like. Like I was like, what the fuck? Because I'd never heard the where he hit him with the nigga moment and the Joe Biden saying that you ain't black and all of that. Like he called him out. Like he G-checked him. Like nigga, don't you question me about anything. You let a white man come in here and dress you down like that. Like I was like, wow. He dropped a hard ER and everything.
And he did it like a smooth gangster too. He wasn't even mad. He didn't even get out of shape about it. He was like this little ridiculous nigger. Come try to talk about me. That shit was so dope.
Yeah, I caught that. I caught that this morning. I had no idea that even happened. So I haven't even listened to a lot of people's content on it, even though I knew everybody was covering it. But all right. So before we get on into it, shout out to No Guarantees in the building. Shout out to you. I'm checking something. Hold up. Okay, cool. All right, No Guarantees in the building. Shout out to you. Says the Honorable Larry Elder is watching from the clouds. Please believe it. I don't know about that, but yeah, he showed out, and he actually commented and got down on some things that that really speaks volume to my slow awakening I started having in 2016, and it probably picked up into gear around 2018, and then by 2020 it was like, oh yeah, this is it was like I've heard enough. But he hit on a lot of the points where it was like black people and their just connection, allegiance, and inability to see what's going on is just mind blowing. It just is. That's all I'll say. I don't even want to give any of my points on that I'm going to make in response to it. I'll just say the inability to see the writing on the wall. But
did you get the I know you probably saw a piece of it because it came up several times, and this was so telling to me, and this speaks directly to something broken at the heart of black culture. When Charlemagne kept asking him, but what do white people do?
Mm-hmm.
It's like, nigga, this is a room full of black folk trying to figure out what black folk need to do to benefit black folk, and but what do white people do?
Mm-hmm.
Like, bro, that shit was so weak. And it's like, you know what? I get it now. I get it. You just you own your identity as black is built on being upset with white people as opposed to being the best version of black you can possibly manifest before you're dead. Exactly. You just want to be upset with white people. And that's not a winning game. That's not the blackness I want to support. That's why I'm fucking with you niggas now.
Exactly. And when you think about past Breakfast Club guest, whether they bring in Umar, whether they brought in Cornell West. I know Tavis Smiley types have been on there. Some black female equivalents of them have been on there. I think even Brother Polite was in there. Like basically the type of people that they bring on, that it's almost like they bring in a black intellectual, sit down and wow us with the many ways that you can tell us everything that white people do wrong. And it's like that's political blackness. That's that's fully actualized black intellectualism to be very just erudite and prolific and even prophetic in your ways of talking about white people. But the discussion about black people and what black people need to do, that's those are just the crumbs that fall off the plate. We don't really do that. We here to talk shit about white people. It's like that's what it is. And it's crazy that the Republican, the sellout, the coon, the black face of white supremacy, as they call him, is the one that's saying, let's have a focused discussion on what's going wrong with black people and what black people need to do. And it's like, no. White people. We got to complain about white people. It's like that's blackness. that's what it is. But let's go to
that's why I support the coons, by the way. Stand up, coons. We had a great representation this weekend. The coons really should feel proud of what happened at the Breakfast Club, because the coon argument destroyed almost the entirety of the pro-black argument vis-a-vis Larry Elder and the Breakfast Club. Like, Larry Elder destroyed everything they put in front of him. He swatted it down effortlessly. Like, the stuff doesn't even make logical sense the way it doesn't even feel the same it would have felt if you were like a black person in the 60s. None of these arguments hold up anymore.
Right. Sir Tyson in the building says, wait a minute, an early Saturday show, LOL, salute, and so happy you're doing content on this. Loved when he answered about the mythical N-word wake-up call. Absolutely. I just found out about that like literally 10 minutes before I hit the go live button, and I was re-listening to it because that was a part I fell asleep on. So we about to go ahead and run the tape and get into it.
You should probably run it on like 1.5 speed or something.
Yeah.
Use an image, because they zap me for a second or two on my show. So use an image to like block the screen a little too.
All right. No. Well, yeah. What I'll do, I'll just use. Yeah. I'll put up my thumbnail. That's what I'll do. I'll put my thumbnail image over it. That's going to take a second. But so while I do that, put the let me pick your brain about the black female attack dog angle, because that's one thing that I don't understand. That's been going on kind of heavy with the Breakfast Club. It's like we've seen it more than 2-3 times now. It's a trend. It's a thing where when they bring on somebody who's more politically astute than them, they'll somebody on the right side or conservative side of the aisle, and I understand. I accept and embrace and don't even criticize DJ Envy and Charlemagne the God for not being able to intellectually measure arms with Larry Elder or a Vivek Ramsey. I'm not going to criticize them for that, because I mean there are some people that you put me in a room with, they trying to have a political conversation, they'll probably outwit or outbox me or bring up something that I just don't know about, and it just is what it is. So I understand that they need to phone a friend or use a lifeline or tag somebody in. I get that. Why do it have to be the stereotypical black female attack dog? There are plenty of black male intellectuals on the left side of the aisle who will give Larry Elder a good run, who will give Vivek Ramsey a good run. So why are these black men using the black female attack dog to challenge other black men, particularly, challenge particularly a black man? It's like, y'all don't got, with all the access and clout and size of your platform, you mean to tell me you can't, you just blind to the optics of that? Like, you can't just find a black person and put them on staff that has who's probably a lot smarter than her, who probably not going to make as many stupid ass arguments as her, who probably will still lose the debate to Larry Elder, but at least it's going to be a normal discussion between two smart people. So I'm like, why the hell? But it's like, no, they gotta have the woman. It's like she's our closer. We ain't up to snuff, so we gotta get a woman to do this dirty work, this heavy lifting for us. It's like, god damn, like, that's weak as fuck. I'm sorry, I rambled for a real long time on that, but give me your opinion on the black female attack dog. You're muted.
Nah, it's cool. I'm actually walking for a second. I'm actually walking to Wendy's, so forgive me, but that was my major gripe with that. I did not on that angle because not just breakfast.
Oh damn! All right, now you got plantation. You done walked onto the plantation Wi-Fi, and now your shit going in and out.
Female attack dog. I think she's more powerful than the male attack dog because niggas is afraid of.
You think that's what's
YouTube
going?
title name to.
Yeah, you haven't. Yeah, no. I think we losing you. I think you was having. Yeah, a Dark Knight mentality just said that Hood is Borgin. So yeah, you kind of Borgin. You Borgin Freeman in us right now. But something was going on. You said you was walking.
Okay,
so,
I can hear you better now. I can hear you better now. No, I was saying that the black woman has been used as the political attack dog to keep the black community. She's more powerful than the black man because niggas is afraid of girls.
That must be the logic behind that. They must have thought that they must have thought that Larry Elder was gonna be afraid dealing with Sister Girl, and that must have been the logic. I'm assuming, because yeah, they literally they had her out there, doing her thing. That was when I first listened to the first 30 minutes of this. I was telling myself she didn't perform as terribly as she did against Vivek Ramsey, but I gotta change my vote on that one. Like it's like she have gotcha questions that's so easy to see through. It's like a gotcha question is supposed to be one where you really stump somebody, but hers just be so contrived and just pull it out of her ass. It just is not even. It's like
that's so sad, bro. Her gotchas don't get you. Her gotchas don't get you ever.
They don't. Her gotchas suck pretty much. But so all right. Now I got that up blocking that. So all right, now we're gonna roll the tape. We're gonna roll the tape. Here like the head go. Hold on, let me make that a little louder right there. All right, getting into it. Larry Elder on the Breakfast Club. Is it fair to call it the Breakfast Club beatdown? Do we got to give it a name or anything like that? But here we go.
Yeah, they got mashed.
I got a star in the Hollywood Walk of Fame, corner of Hollywood and Vine, southeast corner, just saying.
Okay.
I didn't know you had a star in the Hollywood Walk of Fame.
Yeah, about a handful of radio guys do, and I'm one of them.
Yeah, I think it's you, Elvis Duran, Howard Stern, Big Boy. Oh, Angie Martinez.
A guy named Arthur Godfrey.
Okay.
Yeah.
So let's jump right into it. Why are you running for president?
Well, I'm running as an America First mega guy, and we have an America First mega guy running, obviously. So the question is, what do you bring to the table?
You said MAGA.
MAGA.
Okay.
And the answer is, I bring a lot of issues to the table that I feel our side is not talking enough about, if at all. For example, the number one social problem in America by far is the epidemic, not of COVID, but of fatherlessness. 70% of Black kids today enter the world without a father in the home, married to the mother, up from 25% back in 1965. Now 25% of white kids enter the world today without a father in the home, married to the mother. And the stats are clear. Even Barack Obama once cited them. If you're raised without a dad, you're 5 times more likely to be poor and commit crime, 9 times more likely to drop out of school, and 20 times more likely to end up in jail. What's happened? In the mid-60s, with I think the best of intentions, a Democrat named Lyndon Johnson launched what he called the War on Poverty. And since then, we have incentivized women to marry the government and incentivized men to abandon their financial and moral responsibility. When I say this to people, the pushback I get is, well, there are lots of things that are going on, systemic racism, poverty. Here's the problem. If you look at a young Black male aged 10 to 43, that's young to me because I'm 71 years old. A young Black man in that demo is 13 times more likely to be murdered than a young white man, same demo. Young Black man, real young, 19 and under, the number one cause of preventable death is homicide, almost always at the hands of another young Black male. Same demo for whites, the number one cause of preventable death is unintentional deaths. That includes drug overdoses, automobile accidents, drownings. It's not until they get to number 4 that death is the cause. In America, 60% of the shootings The robberies and the homicides are committed by Black people, often against other Black people. Of the homicides in this country, half of them are Black victims, almost all killed by other Blacks. How do you explain that if it isn't for the absence of fathers? Are you prepared to say Black people are just genetically inclined to commit more crime? I doubt it. And the go-to reaction often is poverty and systemic racism. Here's the problem. 1940, when there was blatant racism. This is before Brown versus Board of Education, before the Civil Rights Act of 64. KKK was still alive and well. 87% of Blacks lived under the poverty line. Now it's about 14%. You can't blame it on poverty. You can't blame it on racism. It is the breakdown of the nuclear intact family, and neither side is talking about it. The left doesn't talk about it because they caused it with the welfare state, and our side does not talk about it because if you're white, you'll be accused of dissing single moms who are heroically raising these kids, or you'll be accused of being a racist, or if you're Black, you'll be accused, as I was by the LA Times, of being the black face of white supremacy. Nobody's talking about that. I am.
What are the reasons?
Now, I wanted to play his whole opening speech. And the reason for that is because if you go back to the first question that they asked him, and my bad, I forgot to speed it up a little bit. But you go back to the first question that they asked him. I think it was something along the lines of, why are you running for president? He didn't give him no fluff and no bullshit. He basically, in his own roundabout way, he came ready for war. I'm about to punch y'all right in the gut with all the Black shit. You asked me a general question, why am I running for president? He could have said anything. He said, nope. We about to talk about some Black shit today. So I like that he set that tone early. Like, this is what we talking about. So I dug that. I definitely dug that.
Really presidential, like extremely presidential, and not for nothing. That's what 71 looked like. Like, I hope I hold up that well at 71. He was killing them.
Yeah, no, I didn't know he was 71. I thought he was like, early 60s at least. I knew he was older because, he'd be talking about how his dad was, born in the 30s or 20s or something like that. So yeah, I knew he was older. I did know that, but I didn't know he was 71. That's up there. That's up there. Larry Elder is definitely up there. But he said a lot of shit. I think he touched every damn point. And now Charlemagne's response.
Being the black face of white supremacy. Nobody's talking about that. I am.
What are the reasons, if your statistics are right, what are the reasons that you think fathers aren't in the home?
As I said, it's because in the mid-'60s, Lyndon Johnson launched what he called the War on Poverty. And Charlemagne literally...
This is what I wanted to ask you. What are your thoughts about that when he said that LBJ, with the best of intentions, launched the War on Poverty? Because, if you're coming from the conservative side of it, this is a time where... And they don't take advantage of it. Conservatives don't take advantage of it enough. Where they could accuse the left side of the aisle of being, calculated and racist in doing so. But they don't take debate on that. They quite often are, willing to say with the best of intentions. And I kind of lean more in that direction, where I think that, it wasn't some calculated evil. It was just, there are people who probably legitimately are, of the view that, this, in the richest country on earth, these are things that the government should provide for its citizens who are on hard times. I think there were unintended consequences. But then it sounds like that's what his view is. But what's your view on that? Do you think the outcome and results of all of that was unintended consequences, or was it more calculated? Like this is, because this is where they could accuse the left of practicing white supremacy, but they don't. But go ahead, what's your thoughts on that?
I actually disagreed with Larry about that particular part, and you kind of laid it out. It's too easy to throw the racial argument back in the left's face, so that's kind of the main reason. And then too, even because somebody actually in my comment section, somebody cautioned me about the whole LBJ saying I'll have these niggas voting Democrat. Somebody said that's actually a myth. It's never been totally proven. So even with that, I would argue that even if you say LBJ has
All right, wait, hold on,
has
hold on, hold
enough.
on, hold on. Hold on. Wherever you're at right now, how much longer do you gotta be there? 'Cause-
I'm really trying to get my Dunkin' Donuts to get out of here. Give me a few. Give me like 2 minutes.
okay. All right, yeah, we'll give you a minute. It's yeah, it's bad. They all the way back there. But no, you just hit me with something that I didn't quite know that statement was probably a myth. I didn't know that the LBJ statement, I'll have these niggas voting for me for the next 100 years. And I do think it's feasibly possible that somebody, okay, let's just say that with the best of intentions, somebody, thought that, welfare, increasing welfare the way that they did, the whole Great Society Act, that they thought it was a good thing with the best of intentions. I think somebody could still say, I'll have these niggas voting for me for the next 100 years, but still not be necessarily devious in doing so. I think that there's a possibility that they thought that it would genuinely be a good thing. I think that they thought that it would genuinely be a good thing. And one evidence of that is that it did technically, work as planned for every other group. But as somebody mentioned, the Moynihan scissors, you think after black male employment would go up, black female, enrollment in the welfare program would go down, but it went the opposite way. When black male unemployment started dropping, it's kind of confusing when you're talking about unemployment going up or unemployment going down. But I'm saying when black men became more employed, the black females on welfare still went, skyrocketed up. They call that Moynihan scissors because you can see it on the chart in the graph. Everybody else, when white men became more employed, there were less white women on welfare. When races of other men became more employed, there were less women of their race on welfare. But black people, it was the opposite. So it was like it didn't matter what black men did, black women still, went their own way. They went wig tile, women going their own way, so to speak. And that's in the data. That's in some data coming from the 60s. And and shout out to BGS, the person y'all don't like for presenting that data. But but anyway. So seeing as that's a thing, that's a thing, it does make you say, it makes me say two things. One, that welfare works as planned. Government programs, they work as intended for other people. But it's something about black people from black culture who some of that stuff seemed to not work as planned. And then that's where the person says, it was a white supremacist attack. That's where that comes in. But it's hard to put your finger on exactly why it doesn't work as planned. But
I don't even know if it's a great mysterious, like some kind of grand thing. I think just there are fundamental differences in like the black female social setup. It's not necessarily like she's genetic. It's not like her slightly average, her slightly more testosterone, her slightly higher testosterone is the reason for this. I think it has more to do with the culture and the programming than it does some kind of just inescapable genetic fate. I think it's more like if there's a quote I use on my channel from Sojourner Truth, basically saying that if black men get the vote without giving the black woman the vote, then the black man will just treat her like the white man, and it'll be the same all over again. And what I think is happening is because this issue of race is so prominent in black America's psyche, black men and women, that it skews what would otherwise be a more natural logic chain from every other group. And that's kind of what I think is happening here. The question of race sends black people essentially into autism.
All right. Shout out to Sir Tice is saying tag Breakfast Club in the title. I'm actually doing that right now as we speak. So appreciate you acknowledging that oversight on my part. Give me a second. I'm typing right now. And I can't. Why the hell is this acting up?
Hard to make those changes.
And it's not that difficult, but it's just acting a bit weird. It's acting a bit weird, but either way it go, we're gonna get into this thing. I'm about to roll some more of the tape. All right, there we go. Why is that acting weird? Okay, anyway, let's go. All right. So we're gonna move on, and here we go.
Sent social workers door 60s. I am.
What are the reasons you
Wait, hold on. Before I even move on to that one, I'm sorry, y'all. I'm sitting. Y'all can't see me, but I'm behind the scenes pushing a lot of buttons, and I can't talk and push buttons at the same time. But all right, Sir Tyson here with another one. Says suggestion. Read some of the comments on air. Oh, absolutely. I gotta always remember that's sometimes that's like the best part of the show, when you just go to the page that you're reviewing and just read the comments. Yeah, the comment section goes hard, and I wouldn't be shocked if a lot of people was criticizing them again, just like they was criticizing them on the Vivek Ramsey thing. I wouldn't be shocked at all. But all right, let's go.
If your statistics are right, what are the reasons that you think fathers aren't in the home?
As I said, it's because in the mid-60s, Lyndon Johnson launched what he called the War on Poverty. And Charlemagne, literally, they sent social workers door to door in the inner city. I remember this, advising women of the availability of welfare provided there was no man in the house. It created an economic incentive for women to marry the government. Same thing with whites. In 1965, 8% of whites entered the world without a father in the home, married to the mother. Now it's about 25%, also up threefold. Look at census data, 1910, 1920, 1930, in places like Milwaukee, Chicago, Philadelphia. A young black kid was slightly more likely to be brought into a world with a father in the home, married to the mother, than a young white kid. We have incentivized this kind of bad behavior, and it's had a disproportionately bad effect on the black community.
Let me ask you a question. What do white people do wrong, Larry?
Oh boy.
What do you mean? What do white people do? I'm not worried about white people.
Let me
this kind of bad behavior, and it's had a
Ain't that such a
bad
bitch
effect on
ass
black
nigga
people.
question?
Hold on. Yeah, let's hear it again. Make sure everybody heard it.
We have incentivized this kind of bad behavior, and it's had a disproportionately bad effect on the black community.
Let me ask you a question. What do white people do wrong, Larry?
What do you mean? What do white people do? I'm not worried about white people. I'm worried about what's going on with us.
But if there's
Yeah, man. So go ahead. What's your thoughts on that? Why is that such a bitch ass question to ask?
You know what? I'm gonna get a little personal. Actually, I don't always go personal, but me and my mom, we don't have like the most warm relationship, right? It's a little tense, and so sometimes I just can't help but to tell her some shit, because you ain't never been told these things ever. So she said some. My mom's like kind of pro-black, which is part of the reason why it's weird. So she sends me some video going around it was like, how videos be viral for a minute or two, and so some pro-black nigga talking about the white never intended for the black man to be a father in this country, and that's why it's so hard for black men to be fathers. And I'm like, Ma, point to the white man that's the reason why you ain't married my daddy. The fuck out of here with this bullshit. Like shit like that. It's like we have really fundamental issues in our social dynamics between men and women, between old and young. Like there's just so much broken in the black community. I'm tired of people pointing at this ghost. Like you pointing to a fucking ghost. You telling me this ghost story is the reason why you made all the decisions you made in your life, and also this ghost story is the reason why people don't like the decisions you made in your life. It's bullshit, bro. We gotta grow up.
Oh man, that was deep. That was deep. So, conscious moron says, now I understand why hood hates black women. I didn't gather from that you had a hate, but you have a hate for a certain pathology, and it's you just that pathology is at home with you, like with your mom. Like that's that. Yeah, I see where some of the passion comes from. I definitely see where some of the passion comes from. That's That's a wild thing to say to your mom. But shit, what was her response?
Nah, no, you know why? You know why? I had to go personal with it because my mother has stood next to me in family court, and we both going to court for that bitch. For my baby mom, we both got cases on this bitch, and you gonna send me some video about the white man is preventing black men from being fathers. I'm like, wasn't you standing next to me in court? The fuck is this about?
Yeah, man. Whew, man, that's deep. That's deep. God damn. Dang C in the building says, BR Hood, y'all about Fresh and Fit getting, have y'all heard about Fresh and Fit getting demonetized? Yeah, I watched the video. It's I think they've done the work and got it popping over there on Rumble. I don't know how much money they're making on Rumble, so it's kind of a big deal, but it might not be as big of a deal if they got the Rumble popping off and they getting paid on Rumble efficiently. But I think it is true that if they're not going to be doing content on YouTube, I think they're going to lose a portion of the audience. So which means they're going to lose a portion of their money probably, unless everybody go to Rumble, and that's still yet to be determined. But yeah, it's messed up. I mean, I'm actually kind of shocked it didn't happen sooner because I've seen plenty of people demonetized. Like people, it'd be all kind of other people demonetized. So I'm actually shocked it didn't happen sooner. But I think they'll be good. I think they got enough set up and enough in place and a strong enough audience to where they'll be okay. They'll be okay. But no. Let's see. Let's get back into it. Let's go.
If there's systemic racism in this country, which we know it is.
No, I don't say there is. You say there is. I don't believe that.
Oh, you don't believe that?
No, there used to be, obviously. Tell me what you think the number one systemic example of systemic racism is in America.
Oh man, there's so many.
I remember he famously asked Dave Rubin that question, the white guy, and he fumbled and stuttered and botched it and had a whole political awakening trying to answer that question. And he's Dave Rubin is now one of the conservative talking heads, so to speak, as they call him. But he's one of those people.
Nah. Dave Rubin bought a baby. I don't buy that shit. Well, how do you think gays get? Never mind, bro. The nigga bought a baby. That is not conservatism, and we don't know. I'm so uncomfortable with that whole element of the conservative wing because it strikes at certain fundamental realities here. But I will say this: Larry Elder broke that gay white man, and not in a gay way. He broke that gay man. No, he really did. He had nothing to do. He had nothing to come back with after that. He was like, you know what? I need to put my gay politics on the other side of the fence now.
Yeah, see, I be forgetting who's gay and who's not gay. I forgot completely that Dave Rubin was gay. But
yeah, Dave Rubin and his husband are parents now. So
that's how they bought a baby. Okay,
I find that whole thing questionable. Listen, if slavery is wrong, how these niggas buying babies?
But they're looking after him and taking good care. Oh wait, no, that's the same thing the slave master said. Damn. All right, so you got a point. Oh man. All right, we gonna move along.
This is why I don't even worry about monetization anymore. I try to get money in the real world, and I can just live off the little extras people donate to me because we're gonna talk about this shit. How is this not slavery? These niggas buying babies.
Oh my goodness. Speaking of that, I'm trying to find a Hood Conservative. It's a banner with Hood Conservatives Cashapp in here somewhere. I'm trying to find it. Support the demonetized YouTubers who bring you hard hitting content. Trying to find the Cashapp. Because he calling gay men adopting black babies slavery. It's like slavery is wrong. How are they buying niggas? That's worth a Cash App. I'm sorry, I cannot find it. I cannot find it. Just drop your Cash App in the chat room. Drop your Cash App in the chat room. I don't got anybody in the back clicking on the stuff for me today. Oh, here we go. Here we go. Here we go. I think, yeah, there it is. Okay, it's just the hood. Oh, the one hood conservative. The cat $, the number one hood conservative. I think that's it right there on the screen. Send a brother a Cash App for those bars. Send him a Cash App for those bars. But all right. All right, let's get back into it. But anyway, where it was at was Elder was asking Charlemagne the God the question, give me your number one example of systemic racism in this country. That's pretty much where we left off.
The number one systemic example of systemic racism is in America.
Oh man, there's so many.
Just give me the most important one you think.
At the top of mind, I'll probably maybe say mass incarceration. Maybe.
Really? During the Great Depression, when 50% of Black adults were unemployed, you didn't have this kind of mass incarceration. It's the breakdown of the family. There's a direct.
I'm not going to. I agree with the family part. I'm a Black man who is a father to his children, and I'm a happily married Black man to a Black woman. So I'm never going to argue with that part, you know. But I just feel like everything is black with you. Black is wrong. Black people do this and Black people do that. And when I ask you what white people do wrong, you said you're not worried about white people at all.
I'm talking about the damage, disproportionate damage going on in the Black community. For example, look at these smash and grabs that are taking place in Los Angeles, where I live. There's a suburb called Glendale, where at a mall recently, a mob of 30 to 40 people, they had masks on, but one guy got popped. He was a Black. I think most of those who were doing this were Black. And in recent years and times, there have been a number of these in places like Chicago, places like New York. If I were involved in something like that, Charlemagne, I grew up with a dad, just as you're raising your own children. I would have been more afraid of my father than I would about the cops catching me. These kids are afraid of neither. They don't have a father in the home. Cops are demoralized. They're pulling back. Their manpower is short. And as a result, you tell a bad guy you're less likely to be caught, convicted, incarcerated, crime goes up. They may be criminals, but they're not stupid. When you say, what do white people do? I mean, this is a country that has struggled mightily to get over its historic racism. There was a civil war. There was a big civil rights movement. This is the only majority white country that's ever elected a Black president, let alone reelected a Black president. The three biggest cities in America are New York, Chicago, LA. They all have Black mayors, even though no city has a majority of Black population. The president of Harvard is a Black female. Martin Luther King in 1966, Charlemagne, gave an interview to the BBC. This is 2 years after the Civil Rights Act of 64 got passed. And he said, I'm amazed at how many positive changes there have been in America in the last 2 years. Why, if things keep going like this, we could have a Black president in about 40 years' time. Do the math. Right on cue, Barack Obama elected 2008. He didn't say there'll be a Black female president of Harvard, and there has been. He didn't say there are going to be Black CEOs of Fortune 500 companies, and there have been several. He didn't say the percentage of the House would equal the percentage of Black people in the population, and it does. He didn't say the three largest cities would have Black mayors, and they do. He didn't say the.
I didn't know that the House of Representatives was 13% Black, and the population in the country is 13% Black. I didn't know that. I've always said that. That's probably the most.
That is interesting.
Yeah, that I've said that before. Like, that's the most Black people could legitimately ask for in terms of political power. You know, anything else you're overachieving, but the bare minimum, just your population percentage be represented in, you know, in Senate seats and House of Representatives and all of that. It's like you really can't, you know, you can't ask for much more. I mean, if you get more than that, you're overachieving. So yeah, that's interesting. That's interesting. You know,
largest and most
pro-Blacks don't like to give Black people credit. Like we don't like to give. I mean, they don't like. And not only Black America, by extension, you have to give white America credit, because if you're saying white America controls this system that prevents so much Black success, yet here we are with unbelievable amounts of Black success. Like, what slave could have ever imagined Obama? Like, you ever see like old slaves that they found like some archival footage of an ex-slave talking? Like, them niggas would have never figured Obama, like a secretly Black gay president of America. Are you fucking shitting me? A slave could not have picked, and he ain't gonna picture that. But we got one of those, and now the pro-blacks don't want to act like we've ever won anything. It was just ass whipping and buck breaking for 400 years to this day.
Secretly gay?
It's not a secret no more.
Oh man, no,
I'm sorry. This is not a secret. They started being honest. Okay, all right. Well, we'll drop the secret aspects part.
No. I'm I'll be behind. I'm not even sold on the secretly gay. I have not seen evidence that man is secretly gay. I know Sir Tice is in the Michelle is in the Michael Obama camp. So I don't know what y'all be on that one with Michelle Obama being a man and Barack Obama being gay. I don't know where y'all sources come from on that one. I just don't. I'm behind on that one.
His brother. When a nigga brother say the nigga gay, I'll be like, you know what? There's probably something going on here. Either your brother really hates you or your brother knows you gay.
Did he really say he was gay, or did he call him the F word okay, I don't know. I don't know. I'll look into it.
Now you're getting into semantics and shit. You know, pause, not really pause. Like you just playing semantics games now. Like, nah, his brother called him out.
I'll look into it. Only thing I saw on his brother O'Shea made a video, but O'Shea didn't show. He didn't show the money shot in the video of his brother calling him that, or where So I'll look it up. I'll look it up. But all right, we'll move along. We shall move along. But all right.
Organization of Doctors, the American Medical Association, would have 2 black presidents, and there have been. He didn't say the most prestigious organization of lawyers, the American Bar Association, would have 2 black presidents, and they have. He said president, meaning at that point, I can feel that I've reached the mountaintop, which is the speech he gave right before he got assassinated, the day before. And now we act as if Barack Obama never even got elected. And we're still talking about systemic racism. It's not fair. It's wrong. And you're discouraging black people from working hard. 1990.
Okay. Mr. Elder, quick question. Let's just remove the word racism since that's...
Hold on. I gotta put it on the screen for this part right here.
Yeah. I was going to tell you that anyway. Because look, this is my whole show. I didn't even realize I had to go back and play the intro from 0 seconds, and so I could make sure I wasn't tripping. Because I didn't even know she was a part of this. I had, you click a video and sometimes it'd be 30 seconds in before you start really paying attention. And so she just came out the blue like, boom, guess who steps in the room? And her introduction into this conversation is her cutting the man off intentionally and willfully so she can be the attack dog, a black female attack dog. Can I use the B word? She's an attack bitch.
Yeah. Watch Larry Elder's body language when he didn't, like you said, you ain't know she was a part of the show. He didn't know she was a part of the show. He turned around and looked like, who the fuck is this bitch? That's how he turned.
Right. They tried to jump my nigga in there. He wasn't going for it. He was like, I don't care how many black women you bring up here. I'm standing on mine. Fuck that.
But watch him.
And we're still talking about systemic racism. It's not fair. It's wrong. And you're discouraging black people from working hard. 1990.
Okay. Mr. Elder, quick question. Let's just remove the word race.
That's how I'm looking at most of y'all from now on. Just so you know, you touch me on my shoulder, you getting a Larry Elder face. The fuck you want?
I'm trying to pause it on that.
And we're still talking about systemic racism. It's not fair. It's wrong. And you're discouraging black people from working hard. 1990.
Okay.
Go, that's right, Larry. Look at her like that Ike Turner meme. Look at her like that shit.
He looked at her the way I be looking at my baby mama across the courtroom.
God damn. How the fuck she just didn't just ascended into the conversation out of nowhere. All right. And then watch how he turn and look around.
Before you press the button, let me just say this. Let me say this one thing. Because, I tend to have an asymmetric view of the race realities in America. I take a very different approach than the average black man. I acknowledge that. I accept that. So let me just make this argument. Our main gripe with white men should be y'all promoting these bitches over us. That is my only issue I'm willing to raise in the race conflict conference. Stop promoting these hoes. And then you're doing it on purpose because you don't want to have to deal with me. But it's better you deal with me than all of us have to deal with her. So stop promoting these hoes.
Well said. Well said. All right.
Mr. Elder, quick question. Let's just remove the
All right. I'm gonna put this back up. I'm gonna put it back on the screen so y'all just know. Yeah, no, she ain't in the room. She came in through the speakers, through the TV. Let me get this back up here. Because Breakfast Club been slicing and dicing. So let's get this back up here. All right.
The word
up there looking like the call is coming from the house.
Mr. Elder,
you know she in the bathroom down the hall. Like I'm sorry, I just know she's somewhere in that building acting like you got a special busy life and you couldn't be here. Bitch, you upstairs.
Right.
Let's just remove the word racism, since that seems to be a word that triggers, a conversation down the water hole. Let's just focus on the word system.
Okay.
You mentioned that the system was the one that discouraged. And again, we have no problem with agreeing that the family, the black family, should certainly has some room for some improvement. But let's just focus on system.
Room for improvement?
System. Well, we're not going to go down that water. We're not going to go down that water hole. Let's get to the question. So the question is, you said that the system encouraged black women to be single mothers, correct?
I said the welfare state, yes.
The welfare, the system. So who's in charge of the system? Who was in charge of the system?
Well, it was Democrats that passed it.
And who were Democrats? Were they black or white at that time?
Well, at the time, majority of black people were Democrats, as the majority of black people are Democrats now.
Not the voters. I'm talking about the system. Remember, the main idea is the word system. Who was in charge of the system at the time? The Democrats.
Y'all can't see it, but while she's saying that, Charlemagne is like nodding his head, like yeah. Like you can see him nodding his head and shit.
Yo, but Charlemagne is such a little bitch. And I get the feeling, and this is what I kind of was saying this when it came up about the nigga moment, but Larry Elder looking at Charlemagne like, I can see the bitch in you, young man. Come here, young man. You got a little bitch on your shoulder. Let me brush that off.
Right. Let's go.
At the time, the system. I'm just going to Charlemagne's point about white or black. Was it white Democrats in charge of the system or black Democrats in charge of the system?
Well, if you're prepared to say that Lyndon Johnson did this viciously with an intent to destroy the black family, I disagree. He did it with the best of intentions. And if you look at the New York Times, which is left,
hold on, let me
the Washington Post.
Let me address that too, because I was in Dunkin' Donuts when you asked me about that. Let me just make that point again. So Lyndon Johnson and the whole "I'll have these niggas voting for 200 years" that may or may not be true. So I'll hold off on that point. I won't grandstand on that for now. But I will say this: whether or not Lyndon Johnson actually wanted to help black people is almost sidestepping a certain other argument. Like Lyndon Johnson may have been an honest guy who wanted to help. Fine, I won't call you a racist without evidence. However, the people who created this scheme knew exactly what they were doing, because the argument that in order for man to move away from this Western Christian capitalist system, you have to destroy the family unit. Those writings and those ideas have been in place. And so the people who believe that sort of thing also believe in the welfare state, because those two ideas dovetail together beautifully. Destroying the family unit and paying women to live apart from men actually go hand in hand with that scheme. So maybe LBJ wasn't a perfect Marxist. Maybe he was an honest, good white man, but somebody was fucking us over.
Damn, good. Well said. This is the angle I go on this. As far her line, I'm going to go on a different angle. Her line of questioning to Larry Elder, because Larry Elder says, "Oh, it's not the system." But she's saying it is the system, because if welfare, the Great Society Act, and all that stuff is what ruined the black family, okay, who put that forward? What was it pushed forward by? It came out of the system. So if she's going to say that that's a system of white supremacy while simultaneously supporting I'm sure if she was alive, she would supported it then. I'm sure she supported every advancement, every government incentive, entitlement program, and all of that stuff that basically that we could follow the footprints, we could follow the breadcrumbs that ultimately led to what she agreed with the black family ultimately being apart and being separate. Once she acknowledges that, if she's saying that no, there is white supremacy and that's an example of it, then she's admitting that it's white supremacy and she supported that's the angle that I would go with that. Because the only way that she could logically make that argument is she would have to say the policies, the politicians, and everything that she supports and believes in and would argue on behalf of is a part of the system that's destroying the black family. She got to so if she's going to make that argument, she got to lean right into that punch, and he didn't hit her with it. That was probably the one mistake I would have made. Sort of like in that debate, it was some black people having a debate. I think it was a chick to be on Jason Whitlock that asked she had some other black female on the left. She asked her just straight up, is abortion a tool of white supremacy? And the chick, now they started fumbling and stuttering and stuff. It was three black Democrats or liberals or whatever. They couldn't answer that question because she was really just hitting them. She was just chin checking them right in the face with, y'all complain about racism and white supremacy, but the stuff that y'all support is doing more in favor of the stuff that you say that you're against. That's where this chick was really fucking up, in my opinion, by trying to say, oh, it is white supremacy, it is racism, it is the system, but it's the shit that she also support.
Bernard, like I said, I was doing content on her in particular when I covered this, and I want to take a moment to do a little bit of a shameless plug here, but it's a double plug. So I was talking about this the other night, as I mentioned, and a good friend, Dirty Folks, from the Dirty Folks podcast. Shout out to my brother Dirty. He did something that I didn't know he was going to do this, but once I saw the finished product, I couldn't help but to like it. And I'm actually, my tablet's moving slow. I'm trying to give you the link to this here because I wanted to show you something. There's an element to this whole conversation about black women and the system. And I had some words that I did a little bit of a rant. Oh shit.
Yeah, I don't know exactly what happened right there. I think he's trying to drop something in the back, and he had to bring himself up on another application or something like that. So I think it was some bad feedback. So hopefully he get that figured out. But while he gets it figured out, we're going to look at some super chats. Shout out to everybody supporting the stream. Appreciate each and every one of you. KP from KC5 says Gynocracy Gang BMT1K. Says Gynocracy Gang BMT1K. Thank you for the super chat. Do appreciate that. Shout out to Daddy Nightblade 45 says Larry Elder destroyed the Breakfast Club the way the Dems and sisters destroyed the black nuclear family. Thank you for the super chat. Do appreciate that. Do appreciate you coming through and supporting the stream. Now, it does appear that Hood Conservative has dropped something.
Yeah. Sorry about that. You called it right. I had my tablet open and the audio started overlapping each other. But I went on a rant that I didn't realize even Dirty Folks kind of took note of, and I like what Dirty Folks did with it. So I dropped the link to that particular video, and this is my commentary on black women and the system.
Okay, let me get this up.
Because there's something particularly like really odious and darkly self-serving about black women complaining about the system. And I hadn't really put it to words because, sometimes I just speak extemporaneously, just whatever I'm thinking comes right out. And this was one of those moments. This was like a freestyle. But shout out to Dirty Folks. I like that you put some graphic behind this. What bothers me in particular about not just Teslin per se, but black women complaining about the system, right? Maybe I'm crazy. Call me crazy. But especially like this is generally true, but especially when it comes to black men versus black women in a conversation, I will never ever tolerate a black woman talking negatively about the system. I just won't stomach it. I will not stand for it, all right? I personally, as a black man, will not stand to listen to a black woman ever for the rest of my life complain about the system. I refuse to do it. I refuse to do it. And you know what? I will tell you exactly why. I will explain this to you. And it's actually simple. It's actually simple. And you can disagree with me, but again, it's a very simple thing. And you can explain to me whether or not you think I'm wrong about this. But as a man, not just as a black man, because, you know, like I said, I put man before black. As a general rule of thumb, I put man before black. As a man, I refuse to listen to a woman disrespect the system when the system is her fucking daddy. The system is your daddy. The system is your father. The system is your brother. The system is your uncle. The system is every major male support in your life except for your son. And frankly, when you get older, the system is your son. And as a man, I refuse to listen to a woman disrespect her motherfucking father. The system is your daddy. The system is the only reason you in my face right now thinking you special. The system is the only reason you think you are better than every other woman that's ever come before you in the history of the world before the welfare state. The system is the only reason you think you can do super magical, powerful shit that no woman could ever do before. And here you go under the umbrella of the system, knowing goddamn well the system is the only thing keeping you from being corrected by me. And you now gonna look me in my face and try to tell me that we should both be allied against the system together, right? Me and you should both be at war with the system. Bitch, I'm not helping you fight your daddy. The fuck I look like? Where in the hell you get off trying to get me to go fight your daddy? What one of these days, you gonna turn on me like you turned on your fucking daddy. If you don't even love your daddy, how you gonna love me? If you don't respect your daddy, how you gonna respect me? And I'm supposed to help you fight your daddy. What the fuck I look like? I wish a bitch would sit in my face and talk about the system. I'll send you right back to that system. I bet you I won't. I bet you I would. Won't be in my house talking about your system. Don't be disrespecting your father in front of me. I'll drag you right back to that nigga. I wish a bitch would. I'll take you right back to your daddy. Listen. I'm going to need you to feed and house this bitch. Because I refuse to sit and listen to this disrespect under my own roof. You should hear how she talk about you. You should hear how she disrespects you. Bitch gonna tell me that you don't love her. Bitch gonna tell me that you don't be looking out for her. Watch me take you right back to his house. See if he don't feed and house you. See if he don't give you a little pocket money. See if he don't give you a little change. See if he don't give you a little place to be safe and lay your head so you get your life together. That's your daddy, bitch. What the fuck I look like? You know what the system do for me? 3 hots and a cot. The system will house me with niggas way worse than me. The system will put me in a box with niggas that are way more dangerous than me. Why should I love the system? That's your daddy. The system don't love me. The system don't love me. The system looks out for you. The system tolerates me. The system is way quicker to punish me than it is to punish you. The system doesn't bother me. You know what? How about this? If I make babies that I can't afford, the system looks at me like a criminal. The system it can't wait to literally make me a criminal and put me into the justice system. If you make babies you can't afford, well, daddy got you. Daddy gonna look out for you. You just sit tight and daddy gonna make a way for you. Daddy gonna take care of you. Daddy gonna put your babies in the house. Daddy gonna get you some money so you can get educated. And then daddy gonna make sure you get you one of them little fancy jobs so you can have money, so you can have a nigga on your couch whenever you feel like it. And this bitch in my face talking shit about her daddy. I will fight you, bitch. Don't you ever try to set me up to fight your daddy. I will fight you first. I swear to God, on my mama, bitch, I will fight you before I fight your daddy. You out your fucking mind.
Anything to do?
So that is my general response to all black women and their hate for the system. How dare you disrespect your father in front of me? You be glad I don't put my hand in your face talking about your daddy like that. Well, shout out to Dirty Folks, by the way, also. Thank you so much for that. We got to work together. We got to do some actual work together one day, because that was epic. I like what you did with that there. Bernard, are you still there, bro?
Oh, my bad. I was running my mouth and couldn't say nothing. I was running my mouth. Yeah, I couldn't hear it, but yeah, no, yeah, that was definitely dope. That was definitely dope. Yeah, you definitely killed that. You definitely killed that, and it sort of it brings it home. It bolsters the point that I was trying to make is that she supports everything that would manifest as the type of white supremacy that they talk about. She supported. So there's that. So yeah. But then going even further, yeah, just calling it what it is. That's her daddy. That was deep. And how dare you disrespect your daddy in front of me? Don't come around me like that. I don't deal with women who disrespectful to their father, because they'll be disrespectful to me. So don't you say nothing about the system.
Bro, that is logical symmetry right there. The system is your father, and you don't like your father. You hate your father. What does that say for me? You're not going to love me. How are you going to love me any more than you love the system that gives you everything? Wish a bitch would.
Yeah. All right, let's get back into it.
Which is left wing. They cheered all of this.
Right. And what I'm asking was it white people? So I'm going to ask again in case my mic's not coming through clearly. Was it white people in charge of the system, or black people in charge of that system that helped break down the black family? It's a simple yes, just a simple question. White or black?
Well, you didn't have to go on welfare unless you voluntarily chose to go on welfare. The inducement was put there by Democrats, by the left.
Correct. Okay. Democrats,
most black people were Democrats,
Bernard,
and they voted for these white.
Bernard, real quick too. I just learned recently. Look. This is why you gotta ask your parents questions and shit. Before my dad died, I asked him, what the fuck happened with you and my mom, bro? Like, I gotta know things. You know what I mean? And my pop was like straight up with me, so I appreciate him before he passed. But my mom was a little bit more difficult, and so after years, I get tidbits of like facts I never knew before. So what I learned recently about my grandfather, my mother's father, my grandfather was one of the men who had to hide from the fucking system. I got the niggas that got put out the house because you was on welfare and you had to, act like you ain't have no man holding you down. That's my granddaddy. Hating the system is in my blood. Comes from a long line of niggas that hate this shit.
That's deep. That is deep.
People not too. Voters. I said, who's in charge of the system?
Well, who puts them in charge?
Was Lyndon Johnson white or black?
Who put them in charge?
Maybe that'll help.
Fine. Lyndon Johnson was white.
Thank you.
Okay. But if your argument is that the reason he did it is because of racism, then I disagree. He did it because of
that's not my argument. I just asked you a simple question: was he white or black, Charlemagne?
And Mr. Elder, you said you talked about the smash and grabs, right? And I find that interesting because when you see the mass shootings that happen, majority of those people are white males. What do you think about that?
Actually, if you look at the percentage of whites in America, which is 60%, the percentage of mass shooters is under that. The percentage of people that commit hate crime is under that. Percentage of people who are serial killers is under that. Black people are 13% of the population. We commit a greater percentage compared to that
of
mass
shootings.
shootings.
We talked about the smash and grabs, though. So I was saying, since you're using that as an example, I'm saying, well, what about the mass shooters that are usually white males?
One more time, they are usually white males because 60% of the country is white. However, they underrepresent in terms of the number of mass shootings. About 50% or so of the mass shootings in this country are committed by white people, even though white people are 60% of the population. They underrepresent. We overrepresent when it comes to hate crime, when it comes to mass shootings, when it comes to serial killings, when it comes to robberies, when it comes to virtually every category of violent crime. We overrepresent.
So what do white people do wrong? I'm gonna keep asking you that because I want.
He just keep going back there. He can't resist. He can't. The Breakfast Club. We bring people on here. They are duty bound to discuss what white people do wrong. You can't be a black man on the Breakfast Club. You gotta
niggas is so weak, bro. They open themselves up to the trolling because somebody like me, as soon as you keep asking me what white people did wrong, I'd be like, well, they let your ass go. That was for starters. Like, if you want to keep playing this stupid game, like maybe they shouldn't have never been so kind to you niggas. Like, stop doing this, bro. You're making yourself look weak.
Yeah.
It seems to me, rather than deal with what's going on, the pathology that's going on in the inner city, you want me to talk about how bad white people are, which I don't think is a particularly productive thing to do.
I think there's a cause and effect, but if we can't talk about the cause, which I believe is systemic racism and white supremacy, the FBI says.
Well, I just told you, if it's systemic racism, please explain to me how it was when America really had systemic racism in 1940. 87% of blacks lived under the poverty line. Again, this is during Jim Crow era. My father is from Athens, Georgia, grew up in Jim Crow. My mom is from Huntsville, Alabama, grew up in Jim Crow. 87% of blacks lived below the poverty line. This is before Brown versus Board of Education. You did not find these kind of black on black crime.
But they still were living below the poverty line, though, sir.
I'm sorry?
You're forgetting the fact that they were still living below the poverty line. You're picking and choosing, saying this was good, but this was bad. Okay. The bottom line, they end between the poverty line. But let's move forward.
Can I just add? That's the second. Hold on, wait. That's the second time she did that, where she make her point and they say, now let's move on. Like before, when she made the point where she thought that she played gotcha that didn't really get him when she got him to admit that Lyndon Baines Johnson was a white man. And she said it, so he was white. Okay, Charlemagne, go ahead. And then right after she said that, she was like, okay, but they were still poor. But anyway, let's move on. It's like she comes in with steamrolling tactics, and it's like
it's not even a steamroller. She thinks she can use her sniper rifle in the wrestling ring. Like, no, that's not what the sniper rifle is for. I'm gonna fuck you up now. Like, you just took a shot at me and you were right in front of me. Oh hell no.
Yeah, and yeah. It is a dumbass. Well, I won't even call it dumb. It's a way to do that and not look so contrived and obvious that you're trying to slip in a point and then hurry up and change the subject so the person don't get to respond to your point that wasn't even that good of a damn point to begin with. So all right, let's go.
87% of blacks lived under the poverty line. 1960, that number had fallen to 47%. That's a 40-point drop in 20 years. That's the greatest 20-year period of economic expansion for black people in the history of America. Again, well before Brown versus Board of Education, well before the KKK imploded, well before we had race-based preferences. Why? Because it was rare for a black kid to be raised in a family without a father in the home, a strong belief in Judeo-Christian values, a belief in patriotism, even as America wasn't applying these values to black people, obviously, and a belief in entrepreneurship. All those things are now under assault by organizations like Black Lives Matter. Black Lives Matter had on their website.
I don't want to go too far I don't want to go too much further past this without saying this thing, because last time I was here, I think it was the last time, I made a joke that everybody on the panel was uncomfortable with, but then slowly, one by one, people started pitching ideas that were practically way more worse than my suggestion, which is, to save Chicago, you're going to have to bring back some of those racist cops, right? You're going to have to find a healthy percentage of racist police to save Chicago, right? And then everybody else started getting way more draconian. I found that hilarious. And the reason why I made that joke is because it's a weird irony. I'm not saying this is the reason. It's not a direct correlation, but it is an interesting fact that at the height of oppression, Black America was its strongest, both economically and socially. Like our social ties are the reason why we had a civil rights movement. We had networks of young, intelligent, professional people who were able to put together movements. Now it wasn't all our doing. When you get older, you realize there were some ties that bind the whole thing together, but still, that didn't come from niggas in the street who got baby mamas and debts and shit. That came from upright, honest people, hardworking people. And it's weird how we remove all those pressures and we can't be upright, honest, hardworking people like we used to be. So weird.
Yeah. Shout out to who we got in here. True Hype in the building says Dirty Hood channel, maybe just social commentary. Thank you for the super chat. Do appreciate that. Mike and Vince Perkins in the building says fixing the white man ain't gonna make Black people better. Thank you for the super chat. Do appreciate that. Thank you, everybody supporting the stream. Appreciate each and every one of you. Appreciate each and every one of you.
Site and attack on the nuclear family. The founders are self-described Marxists, trained Marxists. Marx wanted to dethrone God, was an atheist, and Marx did not believe in capitalism, let alone entrepreneurship. All the things that made Black people still survive in virulent racism are now under attack by organizations like Black Lives Matter.
All of those things have always been under attack by white supremacy. You can go back to things like whether it's the Tulsa race massacres. Like every time Black people do create these systems that are our systems and we are the entrepreneurs, it seems like white supremacy finds a way to destroy it.
Every time, look, the Tulsa massacre, within about 5 years, that whole area was rebuilt. It was not even called the Black Wall Street until after it was rebuilt. It was rebuilt, by the way, by Black people without one dime of government money.
Yeah, but who destroyed it to begin with?
It was racists who destroyed it. No question about it. We've had race riots, but so have Japanese.
So you do agree that there's racism? I'm just so confused.
I never even came close to saying. I never came close to saying there was no racism.
You just saying you don't think it's systemic racism?
Not anymore. Obviously, there was. We had something called slavery. We had something called Jim Crow.
That destroyed Black. Hold on, sir. That was the system that destroyed Black Wall Street. It's the same system right now that's not even wanting to pay those same living descendants, because I know your position on reparations, but those same living descendants of Black Wall Street.
Okay.
And then you go on to say that the system, the quote unquote system, is also trying to destroy President Trump. So I'm just so confused.
Just hold on real quick. I always do this whenever I'm watching the show that's like a really big production and they pan out. A show when it's a really big production and the people there that are speaking as if they're like super pro-Black. I always watch when it pans out till you see these people that work there and everybody that they hire is non-Black. I always point that out. Not making a big deal about it, but it's just the most pro-Blackity Black.
Do you believe that the system?
My bad, I didn't mean to push play, but some of the most pro-Blackity Blackest shows and productions, it be non-Black people working behind the scenes. They can't hire a Black dude to hold the camera. That's all.
You realize Power 105. And especially speaking of the system, how is left-leaning media not of the system? Like you work for the system, bitch. You work for your daddy. You working for your fucking daddy, getting me trying to be mad at your daddy. How you work for your daddy trying to tell me how your daddy ain't shit? Imagine my surprise.
system can destroy or not. You pick and choose, sir, and that's what's so confusing to me. You just said it wasn't racism. Now it is racism. When it was time to build it back,
I said it
there
wasn't,
was no racism.
I said it wasn't systemic racism. Let's talk about.
So what are you?
He never says he's trying to make it seem as if the simple fact that he's saying that systemic racism is not a major thing or a thing anymore in the way that they talk about it. She's trying to spin that as if he said there is no racism. Like, obviously there's racism because there's racist people and some people are racist. There's people and some people are racist, therefore there's some racism. Like, that's a simple tautology, if that's the right word. I mean, or on I'm botching.
I agree with that same sentiment. I don't know if it's tautology or whatever, but I know the meaning without knowing the word, and I understand that the left cannot allow that to be the common narrative, because essentially, like, I think I heard Obsidian say this a long time ago, like, the civil rights movement was a success. Like, we won. That was a battle that we actually won. However, the so-called like leaders of the community, they can't lead us anywhere that they want to go if we already won. It's like, all right, bro, why are you still on the court? Game over. Like, why are you dribbling and dunking and shit? Like, the game over. We won already. We ran up the numbers and you still on the court doing fadeaways and shit. And that's kind of how the left and the black, current civil rights people, the pro-blacks, that's how they operate. Like, you can't acknowledge any black progress or growth, because once it's like a thread that you pull on. Once you start to acknowledge any real progress in an area, it's like, well, how come we can't have progress over here and there? Either all white people did. I mean, either white people are doing things to stop us, or we should all copy the behaviors of the successful people. And the pro-blacks don't really want to sort that part out.
Right. They definitely don't. And the word I was looking for was ontology or syllogism, but that don't matter. But either ontology is what I was talking about. A concept of categories in a subject area or domain that shows their properties and relationship between them or something like that. But anyway, all right. Sitting there botching words, ontology. But anyway, let's move on. Let's see. Somebody Lap the SWAT 1 says Richard Spencer, the premier show supremacists endorsed Biden. The premier white supremacists endorsed Biden. Oh yeah. No, yeah, got you. Yeah, I didn't. One thing that got lost in all that. Well, this wasn't Richard Spencer. This was with Nick Fuentes. It was one thing that got lost in that Pearl interview, that he explained that the Tiki Torch posse, the Charlottesville people, how they got called the alt-right, but really he said they basically were just racist liberals. Like, everything that they supported was basically Democrat stuff. Like, there are people that don't get called Democrats that carry all the stereotypical white supremacist type racist stuff, but they actually support Democrats. It's like, that's a real low-key thing. And again, Republicans don't pounce on that enough and pointing out that these people are left-leaning. They support everything. They pro-abortion. They're liberals through and through. They just also, don't like niggas. So they just need to. They don't point that out enough. That's something that they could definitely make a big deal about if they wanted to. But Richard Spencer and a lot of those people, they are Democrats. Dane C in the building says black people have white employees is our reparations. Yeah, I suppose.
It sounds kind of nice, actually. Though it does sound nice. I think I'll aim for that in the future. A couple of white employees. Hey, Jared, move that box. Yeah, I felt good to say that.
Yeah. Let me see. Let's see. All right, let's go.
Can
I just make this point, Charlemagne, please? Let's take Chinese Americans. Chinese Americans were the first ethnic group to be excluded with an Immigration Act in the late 1800s. They had riots against Chinese in LA, in San Francisco. There were laws that prevented Chinese Americans from participating in the laundry business.
After he make this point, I'm gonna skip ahead because I gotta make a hard stop a little after 12 noon over here on the East Coast. So that's
Okay.
I got about 30 more minutes. So but I gotta make sure we get to the nigga
Move up
moment
to the
part
nigga
where
moment. Exactly.
I'm gonna see what he about to say about the Chinese folk, and then we're gonna skip to the nigga moment part. Do you got that part time stamped in your head? And you probably remember it.
I'll find it. I'll find it for you though. Go ahead. Do your thing. I got you.
Yeah.
In California,
I know it's somewhere between 30 and 40-minute mark.
California, of course, rounded up Japanese Americans during World War II. There were laws that prevented Japanese Americans from owning farmland. The average Japanese American household has a higher per capita income than the average white household. The average Chinese American household has a higher per capita income than the average white household. How does that happen? It happens because of a strong belief in family. It is rare for a Chinese American or a Japanese American kid to have a child outside of wedlock, and a strong belief in education and a strong belief in entrepreneurship. These are the kinds of qualities that make people successful.
You can't blame everything on having a fatherless family, right? Because
I didn't say blaming everything.
I know, but that's what you're saying. You're saying a strong community. But
no, you said that's what I just said. I didn't say that.
You talk about the Asian community. Asian community, it's easy for them to get loans for entrepreneurships. It's easy for them to get loans for houses. You look at our community.
Okay.
If you really want to talk about our community, right? You look at the schools in our community. Some of our schools are the worst, right? Would you agree with that? Yes or no?
Absolutely. Which is
right?
why
One
of the reasons I'm running for.
He's blaming Asian success in this country, which means, what did he say? It's easier for them to get loans. It's easier for them to get grants. It's like, no, like that has nothing to do with their academic success. That has nothing to do with the study that shows that the average Asian kid does 2 hours of homework compared to the average, I think the average black kid does somewhere in the area of 30 minutes of homework. The average Hispanic or Latino kid, something like 45 minutes of homework. The average white kid, something like, a little over an hour. It's like that has a lot to do with their academic achievement, their high scoring on the SAT to the point to where they're suing Harvard for not letting enough of them in because they meet the requirements, but they're not getting in over people that don't necessarily meet the requirements. Like that has a lot to do with them having a higher per capita income, or a higher, it's a higher wage. White people probably do own more wealth or whatever. I'm quite sure they do. But either way it goes, the success of Asian people, it has a lot to do with their culture. And it is statistically very rare to see them not growing up in a two-parent household. So no, that them being able to get more loans, which is probably because of their good credit, it's like, man, that's just reaching for, that's bending over backwards, reaching for an excuse as to why somebody else is succeeding and why black people aren't doing as well as we obviously could if we did some things differently. It's annoying.
The president is for school
also,
choice.
Would you say that?
Oh, were you about to say something?
Yeah, give me 1 second. There's something else that really, and these things get to the heart of some really like emotionally sensitive issues for the community. You'll never be able to compete with that group. And the way things are now, that competition will always produce these type of numbers. You know why? Because a community that has this level of this amount of single mothers, you will never have the structural ability to do what Asians do in terms of disciplining their children. Too much of your life is chaotic and out of order. There will never be an opportunity for you guys en masse to operate at their level of efficiency under your current mostly single mother structure. It is never going to happen this way. And all your tiers of racism can't change this fundamental reality. Your team was never built to win. You have to rebuild your team.
Yeah. Shout out to SKC, says just supporting. Although Larry handled the black community easily, the culture will ultimately always see him as a coon, and the black community crew Breakfast Club. I'm sorry. BC Black Community Breakfast Club. The Breakfast Club crew as authentically black. Unfortunately, that is the case. Unfortunately, that is the case. I haven't seen the comment section, but I'm assuming those comment sections are basically saying, because I think they have a healthy understanding that the Breakfast Club crew didn't do well. I'm thinking that they're of the view that, well, y'all got to bring in somebody else more qualified to handle what Larry Elder is talking about. I'm pretty sure that that's the angle that the comment section is going. So no, they're I'm glad that Larry Elder is doing what he's doing. I'm glad that that's the case, but yeah, it's a long, slow journey before black people get to the point to where black people on different sides of the political aisle are viewed as authentically black. Like there's no such thing as not being authentically white. They accept diversity of opinions and views and perspective when it comes to white people, but not with black people. And that's why I'm glad that Larry Elder G-checked Charlemagne the God for letting Biden tell him that he ain't black. I'm glad. So we're gonna skip ahead to that part in a second. But Sir Tice of the building says DJ Envy hate how he says that should be the last motherfucker talking about financial matters, considering what he's going through and who he's endorsed. I don't even know what he's going through or what he's endorsed. Clarify that one in the chat room.
Yeah,
Envy. Oh, you got it.
Envy had. I think this was somebody he brought on his show, so they totally bought into the scam. So Envy's got a friend who is into real estate, some kind of financial wheeling and dealing. I'm not exactly sure all the details, so I'm not going to try to even lie about that. It's just he got caught into some kind of financial scamming situation through a friend of his. And the irony is, this is something I was saying on my show. Like, yo, if the system is so mean to niggas, how is it that niggas is so capable at scamming the system? Like, niggas get a lot of money scamming the system. I thought the system was so hard. I thought the system dealt with y'all so harshly, but apparently dudes out here running multi-million-dollar scams on this evil, mean system.
You know what's crazy and connected to what you're saying, and I hate that this is the case, but shout out to Pocket Watching with JT for more or less exposing it. The whole black financial sector on the internet, definitely on YouTube, but just on the internet in general, most of it is a bunch of scammy shit. Most of it is people trying to figure out ways to either skimp and scam off the aspects of the system or just scam other black people. Like that's what most of it is, and that's just fucked up. But Dane C in the building says both Asian, Black, African has a culture of academics. Yeah. Even though I question, well, no, I'm not gonna get into. I'm not gonna question the African culture of academics. Shout out to Ike Ogiamian. He says that there's an immigrant culture. There's a culture of being an immigrant.
Yes. See, and let me just make that simple. The immigrant population in almost any country, because this is a feature of human nature more so than just what's happening in the countries individually, but the types of people who are willing to travel and throw themselves into a whole brave new journey, like being a new citizen in a strange land, there is something intrinsic about you that you will always outproduce the people of your group, right? So when you get that group of people who are naturally higher achieving and they move to another place, it gives the impression that everyone in that group is naturally high achieving, when the reality is no. The high achieving people out of that nation of basically average people came here. Yes. And so that's what you're seeing. Out of all the average people, you're only looking at the high achievers. And the fact that they came here is a testament to their intrinsic high achieving value.
Yeah, it's a testament to their drive, their motivation, their ambition. The most ambitious among them figure out a way to get over here. They figure out a way to get themselves to qualify for the lottery to become a part of that selection process. But even when Ike broke it down to me that somebody in Kenya got to save up 2,000 Kenyan shillings, which is the equivalent of saving up $200,000 that's just to get over here. Like if you wasn't born into a family that just had the money laying around, like just to make it over here, you got to be born. You're born in a damn mud hut in Kenya, and you roll up your sleeves while in a third world country and save up that much money to be able to make it over here. You're already more driven and ambitious, and you're out fighting and out scrapping the people over the scraps over there. So you're obviously, when you get over here, you're going to be doing good because again, that's part of that immigrant mentality, the immigrant spirit. And they don't just outperform their cohorts or their peers that they left behind over in Kenya or Nigeria. It's the way it worked. Immigrants coming from anywhere, rather you're taking an American immigrant who goes over to Europe, chances are he's doing obviously better than the average American, but he's going to go over there. He's going to be doing better than the average European over there. And the average European that does what they have to do to be that driven, person with all those aspirations and everything to come over here, they're going to come over here and they're going to be doing better than the average American over here. There's an immigrant population. There's an immigrant spirit. There's an immigrant cohort and class, put it like that.
Yeah, yes and no. Now that theorem only takes you so far, and we are at this inflection point right now as a country, as a culture. The West is, because this immigrant thing is happening weirdly to every Western nation and only to the Western nations, but that's another story for another day. We are at the point where if you have, let's say, a minimal amount of immigration, like if you're looking at like 1920s or 40s immigration numbers and policies, then the argument that we just laid out holds up. You get a self-selecting group of high-achieving people, right? But America has removed almost every immigration stricture from our policy. So now what you get is a flood. So all those essentially non-performing people that you were leaving behind, now we're bringing all the stupids along
Hold on.
And that totally fucks everything up now.
I wasn't talking about them damn Mexicans.
I wasn't. I didn't say you were, bro. I wasn't even saying you were. I was giving out a reality of immigration and human behavior and how things work. When you have that self-selecting group of people, then yeah, you're always going to get the smarts because that's how self-selection works, right? But once you just remove all the hurdles that the smarts had to jump over, now you get all the stupids.
Yeah.
And a country is going to be ruined by the stupids.
Yeah. It's so funny. I'm just thinking about, because when you're talking about how all the stupids coming over, like, and I'm pretty sure there are some exceptional Mexicans who, let's just say, they went through the proper channels to get over here and everything. And they would probably fall in and be a part of that immigrant class that we're talking about. But the ones who just came over here on a wing and a prayer, just they had all kind of problems over there that they ran from. They escaped to America. Like those ones, yeah. It's like, so the immigrant class is being ruined, and it's so funny that it's talking about a border over putting the wall up on the Mexican border, but no wall on the Canadian border. It sort of makes you think like, in Black Panther, the Wakandas, they basically built the wall, before the movie came out. Because right now it's some little invisible technology transparent wall or whatever, but in the comics I believe it was a literal wall. It's like, yeah, they're surrounded by this is a first world country surrounded by a bunch of developing or third world countries, and even then in that fictional world they like, yeah, we don't want them niggas coming over here, just like we don't want them Mexicans coming over to America. It's
and look, we have to always remember Wakanda wasn't keeping the white man out, because the white man had even touched Africa at the beginning of Wakanda's like actual history. If you go far back, like do the math, Wakanda was keeping you niggas out, all right? So the war between blacks and niggas goes back to the beginning of Wakanda. As soon as we had this vibranium, it was like, all right, now we can finally do something about these niggas.
Java Joe in the building says, truth bomb. Absolutely. Thank you for the super chat. Thank you, everybody supporting the stream. And thank you, Black Thought in the building says, Black people only want symbols. tangibles equal work. Thank you for the super chat. Do appreciate that. Appreciate everybody.
Bernard, 48:37. That's the timestamp. 48:30. 48 minutes 37 seconds.
All right. Here we go. Yeah, I'm about to go to that right now. It was some other interesting stuff, but we probably won't get to it all because, like I said, I gotta do a hard stop a little after 12, probably 12:10. So let's go ahead. Let's see. You said 48.
Not a single one was changed to get Donald Trump elected. Even though Jay Johnson testified under oath, not a single one was changed. That's the damage that people like Hillary and former President Jimmy Carter and Stacey Abrams and Hakeem Jeffries and others have said for years, referring to Donald Trump as illegitimate. A greater percentage of Democrats believe 2016 was stolen than we feel that way about 2020, but yet nobody calls them election deniers and nobody accuses them of undermining our republic. And they're not undermining our republic. They're complaining about an election. You have a right to do so.
I know you probably got to go. Have you ever heard of the term nigga wake up call?
No.
It is an incident where a person of color forgets that they are of color and are reminded rather brutally by an unexpected act of racism. Have you ever had any of those?
Brother.
I'm just asking. You think you've ever
Well,
had
I'm acutely aware, Charlemagne, that I'm a black person, just as you are a black person. And when Joe Biden insulted you by saying, you ain't really black, we don't know whether or not you want to vote for me or vote for Donald Trump, it seems to me that should have been a wake-up call on your part. How dare this guy come in here and insult you, a black man, and tell you you got to think a certain kind of way? I'm amazed that you weren't mad about that.
I'm not gonna say
that was beautiful.
Yes, I can see the ditches, you young man. He's so nice about it too.
Oh man, that was beautiful. And I don't think I've heard anybody call him out for that. I think everybody just let that ride.
Upset me just like I'm not letting you upset me. You know what I mean? I don't tend to get upset over things like
that.
But what I did say,
well, you just not talk about a nigga wake up call, and it seemed to me that should have been a wake up call on your part to have a white guy come in here who also said, by the way, about Mitt Romney. Because he didn't want to put more regulations on Wall Street, going to put y'all back in chains. And Joe Biden has lied for decades about his civil rights record, claiming that he desegregated movie theaters and restaurants in Wilmington, Delaware, when he didn't do any of that. He lied and said that he tried to visit Nelson Mandela during apartheid South Africa. He did not. And he came in here and told you aren't even black and let you think a certain kind of way. It seemed to me that should have been a nigga wake-up call for you, but it wasn't, apparently.
Yeah, I mean, no, for the record, I'm not a Democrat or Republican.
I didn't say you were.
I think both.
I don't know what you are. I never even asked you about your party affiliation.
Yeah,
I'm just saying, but you are black. And to have a white guy come in here and tell you have to say think a certain kind of way, otherwise you quote ain't black. Wow.
Yeah.
How should I respond?
You are black. He had to remind him, like, nigga, you forgot you was black for a minute there. You realize you are black, right? Like, and you know what's so funny? This is Larry G checking Charlemagne. You are black. Yeah. Like, nigga, did you stop being black in front of the president, in front of that big boss white man? You stopped being black, didn't you? That's so weird, huh?
Yeah, that's exactly what happened. And this is the part where I gotta call Charlemagne on some shit. Now, Charlemagne, he tight with Andrew Schultz. They've had shows together and done all kind of stuff together. Now, Andrew Schultz, so I think I'm getting the name of the guy right. He is like super smart. Like, Charlemagne has been present when his boy was, had they debating Tariq Nasheed. And Tariq Nasheed tried to, throw some pro-blackity black mumbo jumbo on him that he tried to pull on black people, and he didn't think, and Andy Schultz or Andrew Schultz, I keep forgetting his name. Let me know if I'm getting the name right. You know what I'm talking about, Hood?
It is Schultz. I don't know his first name, but you got
okay.
Schultz.
But anyway, right. Let me know in the chat room if I'm getting his name right. He threw out some stuff. He was like, yeah, because blah blah blah, and the Moors and this or that, and blah blah blah, and just start naming a bunch of shit. Just start reeling off a bunch of, how they try to reel off a bunch of historical fun facts when they get on the ropes. And he didn't think that Andrew Schultz, that's his name. He didn't think Andrew Schultz was going to know what he was talking about, but he was like, whoa, you just can't reel that stuff off. That stuff didn't happen in the chronology that you said that it did, and it went like this and it went like that. And Charlemagne is sitting right there watching Andrew Schultz just sit there and break Tariq Nasheed down on that shit. And I'm saying all that to say that Charlemagne the God, he knows better. Like, this is an act for him. This is him, basically, he's towing a party line because he have to. Like Charlemagne wrote a book called Black Privilege, and Charlemagne is quoted saying a bunch of stuff that you're never going to say. That if somebody is better than me or above me or supreme to me, you're going to have to show me something that they did that was amazing, but not just being white. Like Charlemagne is on record saying that. So I am convinced, just given his history, given knowing that he, rubbed shoulders and had basically a joint podcast with Andrew Schultz where they talked about all kinds of stuff, and they brought on all kind of people, and Andrew Schultz debating them, and Charlemagne right there in the thick of it. Like, he knows better on a lot of this shit, and he dumbs it. He plays dumb for basically for black people. That's what he's ultimately doing. Like, Charlemagne knows better. I gotta call him out on that shit. I've seen too much with him to where I know for damn sure he knows better. But hold on real quick. Sir Tyson saying, since there's no panel, you can't tell me Elder not only prepared for this interview, but probably had practice sessions. And you're right about CTC, Charlemagne, I don't know, CTC pandering. You know what? I might do something. I might do a panel.
I was about to say, I'm about to. If you got to go, I was getting ready to just open up my channel and just switch the panel to. I was literally saying Bernard Riley follow-up panel and adding you in the title right now. As
we'll still do that. But I was going to do we could do it that way. We could do it that way. We could just hopefully we could send the panel over to your side because I do got to go. I was
right now.
Yeah. Okay. Good. And we'll do a handoff. But yeah. So let's roll some more of this. But shout out to Sir Tice. Thank you for that super chat. Appreciate that. Let's roll some more of this. But he is calling him out on his bullshit. Like how dare y'all talk to me like I'm a coon when y'all is on this shit right here?
What I just now said. How dare you insult me and tell me I think as a human being, let alone as a black person? I don't tell you how to think, Joe Biden. How dare you come in here and tell me how I should think? I'm going to vote for Donald Trump if I want to vote.
He's giving him the instructions of what you should have said, black man, when a white man come and say some shit like that to you. That's how you should have handled that, black man.
Just now said, how dare you insult me and tell me I think as a human being, let alone as a black person? I don't tell you how to think, Joe Biden. How dare you come in here and tell me how I should think? I'm going to vote for Donald Trump if I want to vote for Donald Trump. And if I want to vote for Donald Trump, it does not make me not black. 20% of black people, black men, as I said, voted for Donald Trump in 2020. Are they not black now? So only 80% of black men walking around are really black. 20% are not because they voted for Donald Trump. How insulting is that? How condescending is that?
I love that Larry Elder sees the divide when it comes to black men and black women. I love that he sees it. I don't know. It's hard to say what to fully make of it, but he's seeing it in the data. He's seeing that black men, bare minimum, are going a different way. It was an interesting conversation that Tim Pool had where he was talking about how the Democratic Party is basically supported largely by single women. And most black women are single, so there's that. But how it's largely supported by single women, and they had some. I didn't watch all of it, but they had some interesting views on what that's going to do and what that's going to mean for the future. When women, pair up with men, they tend to get more conservative. But it's just basically single chicks and baby mamas supporting that party, and he's understanding that black men, at least in the last election, 20% of them separated themselves from that. And I think that speaks volume to something that I'm quite fond of, the idea that black men, more or less going their own way politically or just separating from the Democratic Party, that there'll be a growing market where black men are speaking to black men about it, and so I like what I'm seeing. That I hope that Larry Elder does more, and look, ain't nothing wrong with him. Hey, he got millions of followers or subscribers. Ain't nothing wrong with him having a majority white audience. But I do want to see people like him in more conversations with black people saying this stuff and showing that, yes, you can be black. Black is what you are. I mean, You could be black and not subscribe to the shit that's predominant in black culture, and have this this conversation can be had amongst black people. I like that. And so the fact that he's actually seeing the divide when it comes to men, black men, that's a good thing. And I hope he puts a focus on that. But anyway, let's roll some more.
I mean, you're probably right, but I didn't take it in that way.
Well, I did.
As I said to him in that moment, it's just about me wanting something for my people, and I want to know what is he going to do for my people, and not only for my people now. How are you going to atone for the things you've done to my people?
Right.
That's it.
Right. And this is a guy, Joe Biden, who, when he first got into the Senate, hung out.
Let me rewind that.
Going to do to him in that moment, it's just about me wanting something for my people, and I want to know what is he going to do for my people, and not only for my people now. How are you going to atone for the things you've done to my people?
Right.
That's it.
He didn't ask Biden about how he's going to atone for anything. And when he did try to ask him, what are you going to do for my people? He basically, he in so many words said nothing, but if you don't vote for me, you ain't black. Like, that was some disrespectful shit that Charlemagne is sidestepping.
Not only that, people forget, and I remember because I was covering a lot of politics. Politics was a lot more exciting for that moment. But right after the election, Biden had that famous meeting with the black civil rights leaders. You guys remember that? I think Al Sharpton was there, and I know there was some elected officials in the room. It was like a Zoom meeting, but they were all on screen together in a big group chat. Like, they had a panel basically, and President Biden is at the center of the panel. So it's like Biden on the big screen in the middle, and all the smaller screens are like all the black people orbiting their great white man. And so all the black people started, getting a little bit more adamant about, well, where's the black thing? Like, are you going to do something directly for the black people? And Daddy Joe said to all his little black puppies, you're going to have to start working more closely with the Mexicans. That's what you're going to have to do. And nobody ever caught on to that. Nobody ever caught on to that. See, when you get deep into the cooning like me, you notice all this shit. If it pings on your radar. But yes, that happened, bro. That was a real moment where all the blacks got together and they had Biden in the middle of the circle, and they asked him, what you going to do for the blacks, sir? And he says, I'm going to make you be friends with the Mexicans. That's what I'm going to do for your black ass. It was so, I shit you not. And that's exactly how it went.
What? Shit.
And now in Chicago and fucking New York City and God knows how many other cities, you got all of the illegals sleeping in your kid's school. Biden told you it was coming.
God damn. Yeah, that one snuck by me. That one definitely snuck by me. Or either that, or
the chat call me a liar if you want. Listen, am I a liar? Like, they know this happened, bro.
No, the chat, they was calling it out before you even said it. So yeah, they already knew. No, that one just slipped by me, or I forgot about it, one or the other. But no, that's interesting. That's interesting that he just put it that bluntly to them. I wonder what their thought process was, because I know I'm trying to tap into their mind and see, try to figure out what were they thinking when he said that. What did they take that as? Because I know they couldn't have just I know they didn't take it as I'm going to be working on Mexican issues and just hover in close proximity to Mexicans and you'll get some of the crumbs. I don't know. I wonder how they took that. Like what was met by it? Go ahead.
I think of it this way in my mind. I imagine a relationship almost like that Tyler Perry movie where the black woman worked for that white guy and she was cheating on her husband, fucking her white boss, and what was the name of that movie? Now
Good Deeds.
Good Deeds. Okay, now that scene, and what was the white man name? Because he had a great white man name too.
William Cartwright.
Mr. fucking Cartwright. Yes, that's a great white man name. So anyway, she was fucking Mr. Cartwright, thinking she would eventually become Mrs. Cartwright. And the conversation where he had to tell her black ass, you ain't never gonna be Mrs. Cartwright, that's exactly what Joe Biden did to the niggas on screen. It was live on the panel. You niggas ain't never gonna be Mrs. Cartwright, bitch.
And I got the name wrong. It wasn't Good Deeds. They said it was Family That Prays, and I don't know if it was Praise with Prays or Preys. I don't know which one, but that was the name of the movie. We got it. Yeah, okay.
That's exactly what that moment was, though. Like, and see, as men, I don't think we can ever really imagine that moment. But you know that moment, and this has probably happened countless times to countless women, though, where like the man that you've lusted after and sacrificed for, and you did all these things, and all the shit that you're actually embarrassed and ashamed of, you did all these things for that man, and he finally tells you you'll never be Mrs. Cartwright. As a man, like, you don't know what that feels like for a woman, right? You can never be in a woman's body to feel that feeling, but I know that shit stings. I know that shit hurts. It's gotta be a pain like no other.
Yeah, and I know where you're coming from. Will Wardrobe. That goes on that. When I hear William Cartwright, first thing popping in my head is Bill Cartwright and that flicked ass jump shot that he had. But anyway, that's funny shit. That's funny shit. All right, I'll roll a little bit more. I'm gonna wrap it up right when we hit the 2-hour mark. I'm gonna wrap it up a little bit more. I'm gonna go, get your link ready if you ain't ready already. And everybody, the panel, we having a panel, but the panel gonna be on Hood Conservative channel.
Right. And this is a guy, Joe Biden, who, when he first got into the Senate, hung out with segregationists, talked about how well he got along with them, talked about how he didn't want integration because of a jungle. This guy has made all sorts of insulting things to black people, and his policies right now are hurting black people. Inflation hurts the people at the bottom more than anything else. Letting a bunch of illegal aliens into the border are hurting black people more than anybody else, as I said earlier. He opposes school choice when he has his own kids in private school. And we lost a year, almost 2 years of in-school education in California because of COVID that he supported. I mean, this guy has done monstrous things to black people, and then for him to come in here and tell you how you ought to think as a black person, it blew my mind.
As a person objectively who doesn't care about either party, when I just take a step back and I just look at everything that's happening, I see one party that seems still committed to democracy somewhat, and one party who's headed fast towards fascism. That's just my personal opinion. So who do you think I would vote for?
Let's talk about fascism, since I assume you're talking about election denying. In 2000, when George W. Bush won the election over Al Gore, the Democrats, the first week of January 2001, tried to overturn the results in Florida. 2004, George W. Bush gets reelected. Democrats, including Benny Thompson, the chair of the January 6th committee, Jamie Raskin, a member of the January 6th committee, joined with 28 other House Democrats and Senator Barbara Boxer to overturn the results in Ohio, claiming without any evidence the Debo voting machine had been hacked. 2016, January 2017, Democrats challenged more states trying to get the election overturned that elected Donald Trump. Then Donald Trump challenged first week of January in 2021. Nobody accused them of undermining our republic. Nobody accused them of being fascists. They exercised whatever means they could to try to win the election. I want to remind you that Hillary Clinton advised Joe Biden during the 2020 election, if it is a close election, quote, do not concede under any circumstances, close quote. Donald Trump used whatever legal means he could, advancing some novel legal theories to try to stay in office, and he failed. But I don't blame him for trying.
Yeah, but it's not just election denying. It's the disdain of women and fear of non-standard gender identities and sexual orientation.
Disdain for women.
It's the galvanizing of popular rage against cultural elites. It's nationalism based on dominant, superior race and historic bloodlines. Like, there's a lot of things that Republicans are doing.
Well, what about Joe Biden going to Howard University, as he did recently, giving a commencement speech, Charlemagne, and he said the number one threat to the homeland was white supremacy. Really? The
FBI said that.
The Anti-Defamation League keeps track of how many people are killed by extremists, no matter the race of the extremists, every year. Last year, there were 25. As I said, in 2020, there were 11,000 blacks who were murdered, almost all murdered by other people, not murdered by white.
Hey, do you know what Charlemagne is talking about when he said the FBI made that same statement? Do you know what he's even talking about right there?
Hold on, give me 1 second. I'll be right back with you.
All right. Yeah, I do. I am curious about that because He's saying the FBI said that the biggest threat to Homeland Security is white supremacy. I do want to look into that one. And one thing that I do want to look into is like they had asked him a question towards the end, and we probably won't get to it because I gotta, like I said, I got a hard stop. But it was a question that they asked him at the end where they said reasons why. I think they asked him reasons why Black people should vote Republican. I want to hear his answer.
Black Lives Matter. He invited Al Sharpton in the White House over 70 times. He said that racism is in America's DNA. He said all sorts of things so that when he left, both blacks and whites.
I skipped ahead. He's talking about Obama right now.
Race relations got worse.
Right, but sir, this is where and we can just agree to disagree because you're mixing race relations and voters, what voters decided to do, who might just be very good people that decided to elect a Black man, confusing with institutional system racism. And those are just two totally different things. And it's okay if we just agree to disagree. I'm talking about structures, not what voters did or, voters wanted to see better race relations. We're talking about structures, the same structures that you referenced several times that have also spited you. So that's all
Joe Biden, for example, when Georgia reformed its law, said it was worse than Jim Crow. It's Jim Ego. More blacks voted in Georgia than ever before. The percentage of blacks increased. If the structure, how is it that the structure did not stop Black people from voting in Georgia?
Well, I'm not talking about voting, sir. I'm talking about, and just to be fair.
Look. He calls out the system. He's like, all right, well, this is a system thing. What happened there? And she's like, no, I'm not talking about that part of the system. That part of the system ain't the problem.
Yeah, she does that all the time. She's the worst at trying to play gotcha and don't get whatever it is she's trying to get with it. Whatever the gotcha is the gotcha questions that don't get you.
Yeah, right. Her gotchas don't get you. That shit is it's just the thing that keeps happening with her. And I think this is like a textbook embodiment, not even a definition. This is an embodiment of arguing in bad faith.
Yeah.
Like that's all that's going on here. Nothing he says would have got you to accept it. Even if you don't agree, it wouldn't have satisfied you as an answer. Like nothing he will say will ever satisfy you.
Yeah. But all right, you got the link ready to go?
Yeah. I actually threw the link in the chat a couple of times. Let me throw it in there a couple more times.
Yeah, actually,
and we already set up.
Yeah, you might as well just hit the go live button right now. Y'all can jump right over there. Y'all can jump right on over there to Hood Conservative channel. There it is right there. Because we about to get up out of here. So y'all definitely go jump right over there. That's where the panel is at. That's where the follow-up, the panel for this is going to be. So go ahead on over there. And with that said, ladies and gentlemen, we are out of here. Peace. We go.
Welcome to Machismo TV, the ultimate destination for modern men seeking to upgrade their lifestyle. Subscribe to Machismo TV and Saul T-Balls. We stream daily from 12 midnight to 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, the best male-centric content. Highlight reels without reviewing or providing any editorial bias to the content. We have done so much, with so little for so long, we are now qualified to do anything, with nothing.